Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. Okay guys, as you saw from the title, I am creating today some Ayurvedic gloss bars. I'm making these so as I head into the winter months, I'll be using a lot of my Ayurvedic treatments to get my hair back on track and to keep it there as I go forward in my hair care. All right, now what motivated me to make this video is because I have been watching SheRea DelSol here on YouTube. I will link her channel down below. She recently made some gloss bars. And since I love Ayurveda, I decided to make me some as well. Now, I'm going to share with you the ingredients I am using before I start mixing this up, guys. It's just a little bit different from hers, but I have quite a few of the herbs that she used as well. Now, on the first tier I have right here is my strengthening and growth herbs. Even though all of them add some element of growth to your hair just because of the retention, the strengthening, and the moisture added to them. But the first one I love is henna, of course. And I'm using 7 tablespoons of the henna. Henna is a strengthener. It encourages hair growth. A lot of people use it in lieu of a protein, even though there is no protein in it. It is excellent. SheRea used cassia. Since I like the color payoff of henna, I decided to use henna. I have cassia, but I chose henna today. The next one is 2 tablespoons of brimraj and 2 tablespoons of brahmi. Both of those are awesome for growth and conditioning of the hair, very strengthening. The next tier up, I will call this whole line as my moisture, shine, slip, conditioning herbs. The first one is not a herb, it's dehydrated coconut milk powder. I'm using 4 tablespoons of that. It adds moisture and conditioning to your hair, and it smells absolutely wonderful. I put it in my bars of soap. It adds bubbles because of the sugar content. So that's where the moisture comes from, the sugar inside of it. The next herb that I'm using is Irish moss. I have 1 tablespoon of that and 1 tablespoon of the marshmallow root because I did not have, I think she had slippery elm in hers. I'm all out of that. So I use 1 tablespoon of both. Both of those offer moisture, and they also offer slip when you're detangling your hair. The next one over is aloe vera powder, which adds moisture. It also has conditioning. It encourages hair growth, and it just breaks down or balances out that harshness that you can get from using Ayurvedic herbs. The next one over is amla powder. I have 2 tablespoons of that. I'm using the amla because of the conditioning qualities, but it also encourages or enhances your curl pattern. Henna has a tendency to elongate your curls. Amla is the counterbalance to that. So I put amla in all of my henna mixes. The next one over is hibiscus powder, 2 tablespoons of that, and that is for conditioning and growth to my hair. Okay, now, it's 2 herbs that SheRea used that I do not have in powder form, but I do have them in other forms. In this glass jar back here is a tea. It's ashwagandha and moringa. She didn't use moringa, but I have moringa powder, but I didn't have ashwagandha tea by itself. So I used the moringa and ashwagandha blend tea that I have. Ashwagandha, she didn't know at the time, but ashwagandha is really, really good for hormone balancing. And as you know, I'm in menopause and no thyroid. So I drink ashwagandha to balance out my hormones, but it is also a natural DHT blocker, which can cause hair loss. And in that tea is crushed fenugreek. I did not have any fenugreek powder. I did not have any whole seeds, but the crushed fenugreek works just fine. I put 4 tablespoons in 20 ounces or 16 ounces of water. Okay, and this jug right here is 1/3 cup of honey, which is the humectant for moisture, so it can draw the moisture into your hair as you are using this mask or this henna gloss bar. And then I also have 4.5 ounces of shea butter, which helps you retain moisture. And I have 4.5 ounces of mango butter, which is a solid butter. It's very emollient. It smooths out your hair and it conditions as well. And then finally, the last one, which is one of the other butters that she used cocoa butter. I do not have it. I use cocoa butter, which is a very hard butter with a shelf life of about 3 years. I love it. And it will make the bars hard enough where you do not have to put them in the freezer or the refrigerator after they solidify if you do not want to. But the cocoa butter is very, very conditioning. It softens your hair phenomenal. In my hair butter mixes and my Ayurvedic butter mixes, cocoa butter is always one of the star ingredients. Okay, guys, I'm going to switch over to the camera so I can sift all of these herbs because we want to get all of the large bits out. And then I'm going to mix it into the liquid oils and then add it to my mold. So stay tuned. Okay, guys, I have sifted all of the powders and they are into this little blend. I'm going to stir them up a little bit. Let me see if I can find my whisk. I'm going to mix them up just a little bit so they're all incorporated together. You can see it on the bottom, the different colors of the different herbs. That red you see swirling around is the hibiscus, of course. Okay. Just want to make sure everything is blended very, very well so that you get the benefits of each of the herbs in every bar that you have. Okay. Make sure it's clear on the bottom. All right, guys, let's get the mixing before the oils start cooling off too much. Again, in this container is the cocoa butter, the shea butter, the honey, and the mango butter. I'm just going to pour it in as I stir a little bit to cut down on the plume of powder that you may get as you mix this together. And I'm going to scrape this other container in just a second to get all of my goodness out. Want all of my butters and all of my honey out. Okay. And now I'm just going to mix them up. Ooh, there go a plume. It looks like chocolate cake batter. And it smells faintly of cocoa butter because of the cocoa butter, of course. So it smells like chocolate. And then that coconut milk powder that you put in it makes this smell almost like herbal almond joy bars. So maybe that's what I call them. Almond joy bars, because that's what they're going to smell like. Okay. Now there is some clumps in there. But as I let this sit for a minute, the clumps should merge in. I'll mash it up against the sides a little bit to get the powders to dissolve into the liquid. And if you mix this and you have enough of a hard butters in there, when this solidifies, you don't have to put these in the refrigerator or the freezer, as I mentioned before. But if you are in hot climates, Texas, down south, places like that, you might want to put these into the refrigerator or in the freezer until you are ready to use them. Now, I'm up north, so if I decide to leave mine out, I'm in Michigan. If I leave mine out in the wintertime, it gets cold enough here where I wouldn't have to worry about it, especially if you store them in a cool, dry place. But keep water away from them. So if you just store them in the refrigerator or freezer, make sure they're in an airtight container so there's no moisture buildup inside of them. Oils and water do not mix. If you mix them, you need a preservative. There's no preservative in this. Okay? Now, when I get ready to use these on any one of my wash days, I will be adding essential oil to them. I'm not going to put the essential oil in them right now, but I will add probably rosemary, tea tree, lavender, peppermint, things like that into them. Any of your favorite herbs, even if you want to change the smell of them, you can put in orange essential oil, lemon essential oil, geranium, and all of those essential oils have their own benefits to your hair. Okay, I don't see too many more lumps in there, so I'm going to move my trays over and start pouring these in. Now, as you can see, mine is very liquidy. I do not mind that at all because I'll be adding these into conditioners, which will help thicken them up. But we'll see once they solidify what they look like. So I'm going to slide my molds over so you can see those, and I'm going to pour the mixtures in. And these are silicone molds. I use them sometimes for soap. That's them. Each one of these is like 3 ounces. So that's a huge gloss bar. If you order from Henna Souk uses the same type of silicone molds. And then these right here are just the little emoji faces that I'll have for overpour if I have any. And also tomorrow when I drain out the fenugreek, I will have already removed the bars from this. So I will use the same mold to make fenugreek bars that will stay in the freezer until it's time to use them in the mixtures. Okay, so just pour these over into the molds. That's mixed in pretty well. And having a looser batter makes it easier for you to pour. And that's just because I had a lot more of the butters. This is actually, I had close to 15 ounces of butters and oil and the honey mixture. And if you use silicone molds, make sure you have it on a cookie sheet or one of these little trays or something like this so you can move it around. And more than likely, before I put these in the freezer, I'm going to let them sit out a while because they probably will wobble and spill if I try to move them right now. And as you can see, that mixture filled up all of it with no problem. So I will only probably have to use a couple of the little emoji molds. Maybe even just one. Yep, just one. And I'll scrape the rest of that goodness out off camera, guys. That is the mixing of my gloss bars, so I'll be popping them out of the mold in just a minute. All right, everyone, it is the next morning and it is time to pop these out of the silicone mold. I left them in the refrigerator, well, the freezer for a full 24 hours. And I'm just pulling them out around the mold to make it easier to pop it out. And look how pretty that is. Ooh, that looks so nice. Let's see what it smells like. You can't really smell it. It's frozen. Sit it right there. Perfect. Perfect Ayurvedic almond joy herbal bars. So when I get ready to use them, all you got to do is melt it down, add whatever conditioners or warm water that you're going to add into it to make some richness for your hair, for a beautiful treatment. Sit that right there because I am going to put the fenugreek into this same mold in just a moment and pop out the little runoff emoji. And there go the little happy face emoji. Isn't that cute? And that little on the top there, that was the excess oils and butters. I just poured it right on top. All right, guys, stay tuned and I'll pour off the fenugreek. All right, guys, the henna bars or Ayurvedic butter bars are already packaged up. And what are these little bags? These little bags are just craft paper bags with a wax lining in the inside. And 3 bars easily fit inside of there. And I'll put these inside of a freezer bag and put them over in the freezer until the cooler months when I won't have to store them in the freezer or the refrigerator. Okay, guys, here is the fenugreek with the ashwagandha and moringa tea that has been soaking also overnight. I'm going to take the tea bags out of the water. Sit them off to the side. Now the fenugreek is right at the bottom of this container. I need to get a strainer. Yeah, that works. This will catch if any of the seeds come pouring out. but it also allows me to strain right over into the molds. And I know you can reuse the fenugreek that's in the bottom of this container. You can easily ground that up and put that into a conditioner and try grinding it up. Fenugreek is pretty high in protein, so I don't know. And it is also very difficult for me to get fenugreek pieces out of my hair. So if I do grind this up later, I'll have to strain it again. But I'm going to go ahead on and freeze some of this in this one, and then just all of it in that one for when I get ready to use it. And SheRea also has a fenugreek, several fenugreek recipes on her channel. This smells just like maple syrup, guys. I love the smell of fenugreek after it has soaked in water. Okay, guys, that is it. All of the fenugreek is out, nice and slimy. You can actually see the slip on this. Let's see if I can get close enough where you can see it. You can see the slip from the fenugreek. So I might not waste that. I might grind that up in one of my blenders and use it in a conditioner. So guys, stay tuned for the next video. I may show you what these look like at the end of this one, or you'll probably see it on the photos for the beginning, the thumbnail for this video. But guys, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this, and I will share with you when I get ready to use both of these in my hair. Be blessed, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video, guys. Bye-bye.